Hi, I'm Joe with Living Life Youth Wellness. I want to talk a little bit today about how to get your kids excited about gardening. So one big thing that I've found is if you grow things that your kids like, they like to eat, they're going to get excited about it. I've grown a bunch of fruit trees in my backyard urban garden here, and I notice a few trees specifically that my kids just tend to gravitate to. Like, they love these specific fruit trees for various reasons. And I'm going to show you these trees, talk to you a little bit about how to grow these trees. But what I've found is my kids tend to like things that are colorful, things that are small and easy for them to get to pick, and that are tasty to eat. This is my Barbados cherry tree here, and my kids love this because it produces like cherry-like fruit, looks just like cherry. Definitely tastes a little different, a little bit more tart. This thing is very high in vitamin C. That's one of the reasons why I like this. Very healthy. It's not my favorite fruit, but the kids seem to love it. It is more of a sweet tart taste. And one of the nice things about this tree is it produces fruit continuously throughout the year. So as you can see, it's in flower right now. And it seems to go every month. It cycles from flower to fruit. And this tree loves the heat. So if you're in a hot climate, this is perfect for you. Really grows like a weed. It can also be grown in containers, as you can see here. I had a young one in the ground and the frost got to it here. Surprisingly, we do get some frosty nights here in the desert in the wintertime. So you do have to protect this from cold, anything below freezing. So if you're in a climate that is really warm, really hot for most of the year, but gets cold in the winters, you'll need to bring this inside. Otherwise, this thing grows great in hot climates. This guy here is my Jamaican cherry tree, kind of wedged in here in the forest. This guy likes hot climates, likes to be warm, does not like to be below freezing. That is one of the reasons why I'm growing this in a container. I've seen some people in the area put it in the ground and they tend to die back in frost that we get here. But if you're in a warm climate, hot climate, I definitely recommend this tree. It grows really rapidly. The container tends to kind of restrict the growth a little bit, which is nice. But I bought this as a 6-inch starter plant last spring, and it grew from that to about like 10 feet in 1 year. And so I'm constantly kind of trimming this guy, pruning it back to keep it a manageable size here in the container. But if you put this in the ground and you're in a hot climate, especially like Florida or something like that, this will grow like 10, 12 feet a year for you. And this tends to fruit quite a bit. Like, you can see all these little berries here, and the kids just love these things because they taste like cotton candy. They call these cotton candy berries. They don't really like the skin of the berries too much, but they do like the inside of the berries. So they kind of just squeeze the inside into their mouth and then just throw out the skin. I don't really mind the skin, but and then the flowers kind of look like strawberry blossoms, so they also call this a strawberry tree. This is my Sherwood Jujube tree, which is getting quite large. It's going into its 2nd year, and that tells you how fast this thing grows. If you're in a hot climate, this thing grows like a weed. You don't really have to do much to it. I do a blog post on some of the easiest fruit trees that I've grown here in hot climates. So check that out. This is one of them. Basically, you just put it in the ground and watch it grow. Water it consistently, and it grows like a weed. And my kids love these jujubes. They're small. They're about the size of a ping pong ball, the fruit. And they kind of taste like an apple a little bit. Very nutritious as well. And I will show you, this thing is loaded with jujubes here. And they tend to ripen for me in the fall, you know, more close to like October-ish. And you will get fruit right away on these trees too. This tree grew to about, I cut it down to about 2 feet when I planted it. Grew to about 8 or 9 feet with fruit the first year. So this is probably my kid's favorite fruit tree here. This is a mulberry. This is a dwarf mulberry tree. Kind of grows more like a bush. And it is a very vigorous growing tree here. So I cut it back quite a bit to try to keep it more manageable, more small. I don't want like monster sized fruit trees here in my backyard. I try to keep everything manageable by pruning it. But they love the fruit on this. They come out here all the time, pick all these berries off this tree. And these mulberry trees tend to grow in a lot of different climates. I remember as a kid eating these in northern Michigan. So they can grow in cold climates, warm climates. Just make sure you get the right kinds of varieties. For here in the desert, dwarf everbearing mulberry, Pakistan mulberry, Shangri-La mulberry, a few different varieties that grow good here. And this is another really easy tree to grow. So you just basically stick it in the ground and it grows like a weed here. Loves the heat, loves the sun. Not a whole lot of special care for this. And they fruit pretty quickly. Like I got berries the first year I planted this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed that video on how to get your kids excited about gardening. Check out my blog at livinglifeyouthwellness.com/blog, and I give a lot more tips on gardening, youth wellness, fitness for kids, helping parents out as well. Thanks a lot.